All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
And today we're talking about speaking English.
Yes, we are.
And this is something that people ask about all the time. And actually,
Yeah.
when I think about learning a language, I always feel like, oh gosh,
Right.
I got to have perfect grammar and pronunciation and everything has to be perfect.
Yes.
But the source that we're looking at today,
Right.
which is Fluent Pro Hub, Speak English from Today, it actually says something very different.
It does.
And I really love this idea.
Oh, tell me about it.
So they're saying that the biggest problem, actually, that most people have
Yeah.
is fear.
Fear. Yeah.
Fear of making a mistake.
It's so true.
Fear of, sounding silly.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually make a really interesting point.
Okay.
They say, think about how little kids learn language.
Right.
They don't care.
They don't care at all.
If they get it wrong,
No.
they just want to
communicate
and try and get their point across.
Exactly. And they're not afraid to experiment.
Yeah, and they just keep trying until they get it right, and they're not afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah. And it's funny because, neurologically speaking, when we're kids, our brains are actually primed for this kind of learning.
Yeah.
We're not self-conscious about, making mistakes.
Right.
We're just like sponges, just absorbing everything and trying things out.
Totally.
So this source is really interesting because it kind of encourages that same mindset,
Yeah.
but for adult learners.
Yeah, don't be afraid to sound silly. Just go for it.
Exactly.
And, one thing that they suggest
Yeah.
to kind of tap into that inner child again is this thing called 3-word sentences.
Oh, yes.
Have you ever heard of this?
I have. I think it's such a cool idea.
So tell me, what is this about?
Well, it's really about starting small and building up your confidence.
Okay.
So instead of trying to, create these perfect, grammatically correct sentences right from the start, which can be really intimidating.
Yeah.
It's about focusing on really simple phrases, like, for example, I am learning.
Okay, I am learning.
Or you are kind.
Right.
Just 3 words.
Simple stuff.
Simple stuff.
Yeah.
That you can use in a lot of different situations.
Right, and then you're going to build from there.
Exactly. And the thing is, by using these phrases over and over again, you're not just practicing vocabulary, you're actually training your brain to think in English.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you're creating those neural pathways.
So it's like a foundation.
Yes, exactly.
To build on.
Exactly.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
It's a great way to start.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing they suggest is a little bit unconventional.
Right. I'm intrigued.
And I was too. I was like, really?
Oh, yeah.
Is this going to work?
Okay.
They say, talk to yourself.
Talk to yourself.
In English.
Out loud.
Literally have a conversation with yourself.
In the mirror?
I mean, they don't necessarily say in the mirror.
Oh.
But
talk to yourself.
Talk to yourself, yeah.
That's interesting.
And when I first read that, I was like, am I supposed to just narrate my whole life now?
Right, walk around.
Like I'm making a cup of tea?
I am pouring the water.
Exactly.
But there's actually a really good reason for it.
Okay, so tell me why would this work?
Well, think about it. How often do we have conversations in our heads anyway?
Oh, all the time.
Right, we're always kind of rehearsing things or thinking things through.
Yeah.
So if you do that in English,
okay,
you're basically practicing your pronunciation, your sentence structure, even vocabulary retrieval.
Right.
And you're doing it in a safe, judgment-free zone.
So it's like having a built-in speaking partner.
Exactly.
Without the awkward silences.
Exactly. No awkward silence.
And I guess if you do it in the mirror, it can help with that confidence thing too.
It can, because you get used to seeing yourself speaking English.
Right. And hearing yourself.
Exactly. It's all about creating that immersion.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have native speakers around you.
Right. And speaking of immersion.
Yes.
Another big point that they make is about incorporating English into your daily life.
Yes, make it part of your world.
As much as possible. So what kinds of things are they talking about?
Well, simple things like watching movies with subtitles.
Okay.
Listening to music, listening to podcasts, even writing, social media posts in English.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, it's about surrounding yourself with the language as much as possible.
Right. And it doesn't even have to be active learning.
Exactly.
Sometimes it can just be in the background.
Yeah, research has shown that even passive exposure to a language can be really helpful.
Right.
It can improve your comprehension, your pronunciation, even if you're not actively studying.
I mean, think about it. How many times have we learned song lyrics
Oh, yeah.
without even realizing it, just by hearing it over and over again.
Our brains are amazing at absorbing language, even when we don't realize it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of really interesting points
We have.
about how to start speaking English.
Yes.
And, kind of get over that fear
Mm-hmm.
and build up that confidence.
Absolutely.
But I really love how Fluent Pro Hub ends this.
Okay, how do they wrap it up?
They have a challenge for the listener.
I love a good challenge.
And I think this is really important
Oh.
because, sometimes we read these things or we listen to this advice
Yeah.
and then we don't do anything about it.
Right, we just kind of file it away for later.
So what is this challenge?
So basically they're asking the listener to, right now,
Right, yeah.
think of a simple English sentence,
Okay.
maybe using that 3-word technique we talked about.
Right.
And say it out loud.
Right now.
Yes, right this second.
Don't think about it too much.
Don't overthink it, just let the words flow.
I love that.
Yeah, it's about breaking down those mental barriers
Mhm.
and proving to yourself that you can do it.
So no matter where you are right now,
Yeah.
just think of a simple sentence
Mm-hmm.
in English.
And say it out loud.
And, as you go about your day,
Yeah.
think about this.
Okay.
What's one thing you could do today
Mm-hmm.
to incorporate a little bit more English into your life?
That's a great question.
It could be anything. It could be, changing your phone settings
Oh, yeah.
to English,
Good one.
or maybe, writing a social media post in English, or,
Mhm.
listening to an English podcast.
Or having a conversation with someone online.
Exactly. There's so many possibilities.
There are.
And it doesn't have to be a huge thing,
No, just small steps.
little by little.
Yeah, consistency is key.
And remember, fluency isn't about perfection.
It's not.
It's about progress
It's about the journey.
and taking those steps
Exactly.
so that you can achieve your goals.
One step at a time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us for another deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time.
See you then.
Happy speaking, everybody.